Here just wanted to run through a couple of the problems that I've given you today. So it was question 4 to 7 from page 97 of your textbook, and I had done A and B from question 4 as examples already for you. So I'm going to start at question 4 part C. So the question asks to express each of the following in its simplest form. So we've got 300 grams as a ratio of 2 kilos. So the important bit here, as we said, is to get your units have to be in the same form. Units in the same form. And usually we go for the smaller unit, to be honest, because you don't want to be doing decimals or fractions when avoidable. So if we go with the smallest unit, then we'll have each value as a whole number, and then we'll be able to go from there, hopefully. So 300 grams is fine. Grams are smaller than kilograms, so we're going to change 2 kilograms into grams first and foremost. It tells us in the question that we're doing that 1 kilo is equal to 1,000 grams, so you just got to multiply that by 1,000, so you end up with 300 is to 2,000, and in that case then I can divide each by 100, and we end up with 3 is to 20. If I divide by 100, I can cancel those 2 zeros there and 2 zeros there, and I'm left with 3 is to 20. Now I can't make that any simpler, so that is my ratio. 3 is to 20. So same idea for all the rest of them. They just have different values or different units we're talking about. So some are distance, some are time, and so on. So I'll do a couple more and hopefully they make sense. So we can see the next one is 2 kilometers is a ratio of 50 centimeters. So 2 kilometers is to 50 centimeters. Again, I'm going to change this unit into centimeters. So I want to change 2 kilometers into centimeters. And it says in the question again, 1 kilometer is 100,000 centimeters. So I've got 200,000 centimeters is to 50. And again, I can get rid of the 0. I divide by 10 first and foremost. I can get rid of those 2 zeros. So I end up with 20,000 is to 5. And I know that 5 goes into 20,000. So I'm going to divide each thing by 5. So that's going to be 1 is to 4,000. So I divided by 10 here. And then I divided by 5. If you want to do it and show it like that, that's a nice way of doing it. I'd asked a few people in the corrections to show their work, and you can see in this one I divided by 100 just to go back and make sure we're clear on that. So I would suggest doing that just for your own peace of mind, and you can see that I'm writing down each step bit by bit. And again, some people just had answers written yesterday, so I would ask you again, you've got to write and show all of your workings. We'll keep going. Part E is to do with time, and I'll do E and F because the rest of them are just repeats of different units. So I'll do E and F, and then we'll move on to the next questions. So E, we've got 10 seconds as a ratio of 6 hours. 10 seconds is to 6 hours. And you can see it says 1 hour 60 minutes, 1 minute 60 seconds. So I'm going to change hours into seconds. So I'm going to change hours into minutes first and foremost by multiplying that by 60. And that will become 360 minutes. And then I want to change that 360 minutes, I want to change that into seconds. So I have to do 360 multiplied by 60 again to get it into seconds. So that's going to be 10 is to 21,600. and they're both in seconds now. And then to divide in, I can divide by 10, and I'm left with 2,160 is to 1, or 1 is to 2,160, and I've divided by 10 there. So as I said, getting them in the same unit, as we've discussed, that length already, is the most important part. Once we do that, the division is straightforward enough if we take our time. Last one, €10 as a ratio of 50 cent. €10 as a ratio of 50 cent. So I know that I want to change euros into cents. There's 100 cents in each euro. So €10 is equivalent to 1,000 cent. If I multiply by 10. And then I've got 1,000 is to 50. And again, you can put the unit in there if you want to. You don't have to. I'll take it away just for argument's sake, because I've done it in the other ones. So I've got 1,000 is to 50, and I know 50 goes into 1,000. So I'm going to divide each part by 50. If I divide each part by 50, then I'm going to end up with the simplest form I can. So that becomes 1, and that becomes 20. 1,000 divided by 50 gives me 20. So we can see that we're trying to make those as simple as possible. Question 5. We've got a plank of wood is 6 meters long, and it's cut into the ratios 1 is to 5. Find the length in centimeters of the longer piece. So it's 6 meters long, imagine. 6 meters long, it's cut in the ratio as 1 is to 5. So 1 is to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts there, and 1 part there. So we can say 5 is to 1. And you can imagine each part of that, that's 1 meter long, and that part is 5 meters long. So all it's asked there, find the length in centimeters of the longest piece. The longer piece is 5 meters long, and then to change that into centimeters, I got to multiply by 100, because it's 100 centimeters per meter. So I know that that part is going to be 500 centimeters long. Done. Question 6. Divide 60 grams of cereal between 2 brothers so that one gets twice as much as the other. Okay, so I've got 60 grams, and you want one brother to get twice as much cereal as the other. So one brother is going to get 2 parts, and the other brother is going to get 1 part. So one brother is getting twice as much as the other. So that means that there's 3 shares. And I figure out what 1 share is worth. I do 60 divided by 3 will give me the amount of grams that 1 share is worth. 1 share is worth 20 grams. So if 1 share is 20 grams, the brother getting the smaller amount is getting 20 grams of cereal. And the brother getting twice as much as him is getting 40 grams of cereal. Nice and straightforward. This is the important part here. We find out how many shares there are worth, or how many shares there are in the ratio, and then we figure out how much 1 share is worth. Once I know what 1 share is worth, I can figure out any amount of shares depending on what I'm looking for. Last one, question 7. Fernando and Wayne are 2 professional footballers. They decide to take part in a penalty competition to raise money for their favourite charities. €45,000 is raised. €45,000 is raised. It is decided to divide the money in the ratio of penalties scored. Fernando scores 5 penalties. So Fernando scored 5 penalties, and Wayne scored 4. So the ratio is 5 is to 4. That means there are 9 shares, doesn't there? If there are 9 shares, all I got to do then, I got to divide that 45,000. If I divide that by 9, that will tell me what 1 share is worth. And if I know what 1 share is worth, I can figure out what 5 shares are worth and what 4 shares are worth, nice and simply. So I do 45,000 divided by 9, and that is 5,000. So each share is worth €5,000. And then I work out what 5 shares are worth, and I work out what 4 shares are worth. So when it's 5 is to 4, I do 5, I'll do 5 times 5,000, which will be 25,000. And I'll do 4 times 5,000 to work out what 4 shares is, which is 20,000. And so that's how the prize money has been split up. Fernando gets 5 shares. Let's go back, let's keep it in the same colour. Fernando gets 5 shares worth 25,000. Wayne gets 4 shares worth 20,000. We know the total prize money was 45,000, and that is all accounted for now. So I'm pretty confident that I've done it correctly, because if I do 25,000 plus 20,000, it gives me that 45,000, which is the money we started off with. So we know that we're happy with that. Okay, hopefully those are a bit clearer for you. You're going to have a couple more of those to do, and then we'll do revision for this whole topic to finish off. Thank you.